Hi, I'm Deanna Piscasio.
And I'm Caitlin Jenkins.
We are joining forces with the Lewis County Board of Education to bring you career exploration segments featuring Lewis County High School graduates.
We hope to offer students and members of the community an insight into some of the professions our alumni have found since leaving Lewis County High School.
We are here today via Skype with Amber Darnell, who works with Roush Racing in Concord, North Carolina.
Thank you for joining us today. Would you mind to share the audience where you work?
I work at Roush Fenway Racing in Concord, North Carolina.
What is your official job title and what are some of the duties and obligations?
My job title is Director of Partner Activation, and my duties are primarily that I manage the relationship between our race team and sponsors on the number 17 car that is driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So I work with Fastenal, Fifth Third Bank, and Sunny D.
Nice. How long have you been in this career field?
I've been in this career field, I guess you could say, since I graduated from college in 2000, but I've been at Roush Fenway since 2004.
Nice. What are some of the skills you need for your job?
Strong interpersonal skills are crucial. I think writing skills are very important. All along my career, I've been responsible for writing press releases and even email communications. You have to make sure that your emails are very professional when you send them to our partners, so they can be passed along and such. And definitely presentation skills, I think, are important to be able to get up in front of a group and talk to people, and not be uncomfortable in that situation.
Could you describe a typical work day?
A typical work day, there's not really a typical work day for me. I think a typical work week might be easier to describe. So obviously during the season we race every weekend. So the week starts out by kind of looking ahead to the upcoming race. What guests we're going to have at the track, what kind of activation our partners are going to have, if they're going to have hospitality, and what their needs are for that. Then on Tuesday we have meetings, a group of us that support each sponsor relationship. We have a meeting to go over what needs a sponsor might have and what kind of social media activation we're going to do for them that week, what the messaging for social media is for that week, and just make sure we have that plan in place. And then, as we get closer to the race weekend, then it's just kind of fine tuning those and travel plans and that sort of thing. But I speak to at least one representative from our partners just about every day. So I just make sure I do that. And then right now, this part of the year, what I'm working on today is the reports that we send back to our partners to let them know what their exposure value was this year and just kind of give them a summary of what their return on the investment with our team was.
Okay, nice. Where do you do most of your work? Do you do it at a desk, at your home, at a hotel?
Well, early in my career, when I did PR for Greg Biffle, so I traveled to pretty much all of the races. So I worked out of a hotel room, and then at the racetracks, they have a media center that's set up for PR reps and the media covering the event to have a workspace. So I worked out of there a lot, and I was only in the office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Now that I am more of a relationship manager with our sponsors, I work primarily out of the office. Last year I went to 14 races. But I just went on race day, and so I don't work out of hotels that much. Although last week I did go to Orlando for a Fastenal event. Sometimes I do have to go out of town to either go to the sponsor's office, headquarters, or a big event that they might be having.
Nice. Now you said you went to college. Where did you attend?
I attended Marshall University. I started in '96 and graduated in 2000.
Nice. What was your major and how long did that take?
My major was communication studies, and I minored in journalism. It took me 4 years. Somewhere in there I went for a summer, and I also studied abroad for 1 semester in England.
Wow, that's cool. Okay. Now, did you have to relocate to take your job?
Yes. Well, I started in Weston and then I moved to Huntington and then I kept going south so I ended up in Charlotte right after I moved about a week after I graduated from college to Charlotte. And, but since I've been down here and the different jobs I've had in racing, I haven't really had to move too far.
Okay, what is like the most rewarding part of the career you are in?
At this point, the most rewarding part for me is when we get to do things that are cause related. Fifth Third Bank is a very philanthropic organization. They do a lot with Second Harvest Food Bank here locally. So we help them with a food drive, and we go down there and pack backpacks for kids in need. And they also do a lot with Stand Up to Cancer, which is a cause that's very important to a lot of us. And so being able to support them and their work there is very rewarding for me. And this time of year, we get a lot of requests for charity items and toy drives and that sort of thing. So that's, being able to provide something for either an auction or do the toy drive and that sort of thing is really rewarding to me.
Thanks. What would be the most challenging part?
The most challenging part is the travel. Even now, I said I went to 15 races and I only had to go race day, but those are 15 days that I wasn't at home with my children, my husband, and so that that's the most challenging part for me now. Early in my career, I would just say probably keeping up with your workload when you are traveling that much can be challenging.
Most jobs have some kind of fringe benefits. What would you say some of the perks are that come with your profession?
The perks of my profession, I mean, I've gotten to do some really cool things in my time here at Roush Fenway. When I was doing PR for Greg Biffle, and he was very successful around 2005, 2006, and we got to, like, he was on a TV show, so we got to go and be on set in LA, and he was on a TV show called Yes Dear, and obviously I've gotten to travel quite a bit with my job and not had to pay for any of it. And Greg had his own plane, so I got to fly privately, which is always nice. But we got to go to New York for the banquet when the banquet was there, and we went to Vegas all the time. And then just obviously all the different race markets. I mean, I have my favorite restaurants all over the country and near the racetracks. So that's been really cool. When I worked at the Richard Petty Driving Experience, that was my first job out of college. We did the driving experience in England, so I got to go back there, and that was one of the coolest things I've got to do since I graduated from college with like a job, because I love traveling.
If you could, what would you change about the profession you're in?
NASCAR doesn't have there are not a lot of female executives in the sport. There are a few with the governing body, NASCAR, but as far as the race teams go, you don't see a lot of female executives being represented on the race teams, and I think that's unfortunate because I think we can provide a unique perspective on things, and at this point there are a lot of females who have been working in the sport for a long time. It's difficult. I'm learning as I grow in my career, but I'm also a mother, to kind of be able to dedicate the time that some of my male coworkers can to that. But I think that it's a failure to everyone whenever we don't have female leadership in any business.
All right, we're not going to ask you about your salary, but as an entry-level employer, what would you expect your first year, and are there any bonuses available?
I believe entry level here at Roush Fenway we have a lot of entry level positions, whether it's the PR position or working in events, and those sort of things. We have some folks who work in our store downstairs. I would guess it's around 35,000 to start, and then there is opportunity for bonus here at the race team, just based on our race performance and the winnings that we gain that year.
Nice.
If someone was interested in going into your profession, what classes would he or she need to take in high school or college?
I mean, it varies because we employ a lot of different kinds of people. When we employ engineers, we employ, sales reps. Um, for me, I would definitely say public speaking. I would say writing. I would say, the communications classes that I took in college were really advantageous because they teach you how to communicate with people of all levels. Because in this role, at one weekend you might be hosting the CEO from the company that you work with, or you might be hosting a contest winner who, you know, they can be very colorful people. So um, I think that the communication skills there, and then journalism, certainly very important, just to understand how to present the information in a way that is interesting and engaging with people.
All right. What classes or teachers did you find most valuable to you, like for this career and what you decided to be? And this could be like high school, college, anything.
Right. I think the person who really pushed me the most was when I went to Marshall and I met with my guidance counselor for the first time, Dr. Brammer. I do remember her name now. She's still there. I looked her up. Dr. Brammer in the communications department. I went to her office and she asked me what I wanted to do for a living, and I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I'd really like to go into PR for country music or NASCAR. And she looked at me straight as can be and said, why is that crazy? You can do that. If that's what you want to do, that's what you'll do. And she's like, all you have to do is just decide in yourself that that's what you want to do. And I really want to hit that point home, for some young people like you, because it hasn't been easy. I know we're talking about like all the cool stuff that I've gotten to do, but there was also a time when I was eating ramen noodles on a beanbag in front of a 12-inch television, and not knowing how I was going to pay my bills the next week. And that was after I moved down here because Richard Petty driving experience laid off a bunch of people after 9/11, and so it's not always easy. But if you decide is what you want to do, then you can do it.
If you could give any advice to students from your hometown, what would it be?
Don't feel limited because you come from a small town in West Virginia, and don't feel limited by money, because there are all kinds of ways to go to college and get an education, with financial aid and scholarships, and just don't let anything stop you once you decide what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be college. You can start your own business at a young age if you have that kind of mindset. Business is another class that I would highly recommend. It's helpful for almost everyone, whether you're working with a business or you own a business or you work within a business, to understand how that works and what's important. Or if it's just going straight to work for the gas company or whatever it is, do it 100%, and don't let anyone tell you can't do something, because honestly, for me, the people who told me that I couldn't do something, that was just more motivation to show them that I could.
Well, that wraps things up. Thank you so much for your time. We wish you the very best in your career. And remember, once a Minuteman, always a Minuteman.
That's right. Go Lewis.
Thank you.